According to the National Confectioners Association, over 16 million jelly beans are made in the U.S. each year for Easter, enough to fill a giant egg measuring 89 feet and 60 feet wide.
For the past decade, the top-selling non-chocolate Easter candy has been the marshmallow peach.
Chirp, 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 chirp!
A sugary, pastel-colored confection.
Shaped like a little itty-bitty chick.
Bethlehem,
bunny.
Pennsylvania-based candy manufacturer, Just Born, founded by Russian immigrant Sam Born in 1923, began selling Peeps in the 1950s. The original Peeps were handmade, the marshmallow-flavored yellow chicks, but some shapes and flavors were later introduced, including chocolate moose's bunnies.
Moose bunnies. Chocolate mousse.
In New York City, the Easter parade tradition dates back to the mid-1800s when the upper crust of society would attend Easter services at various Fifth Avenue churches, then stroll outside afterwards, showing off their new spring outfits and hats. Average citizens started showing up along Fifth Avenue to check out the action. The tradition reached its peak by the mid-20th century, and in 1948, the popular film Easter Parade was released, starring Fred Astaire and Judy Garland, and featuring the music of Irving Berlin. The title songs included the lyrics, "In your Easter bonnet with all of the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest..."
You gotta sing it! In your Easter bonnet with all the frills upon it.
You don't sound like
the grandest lady in the Easter parade.
You don't sound like him.
Well,
the Easter parade tradition
in your Easter bonnet with all the frills upon it.
Go, Bob, go.
You'll be the prettiest lady in the parade.
Easter parade.
Easter parade.
What'd you forget in all these years? The Easter parade tradition lives on in Manhattan, with Fifth Avenue from 49th Street to 57th Street being shut down during the day to traffic. Participants often sport decorative bonnets and hats. The events have no religious significance, but sources know that Easter processions have been a part of Christianity since the earliest days. Today, other cities around America also have their own parades.
Easter, a Christian festival, embodies many pre-Christian traditions. The origin of its name is unknown. Scholars, however, accepting the derivation proposed by the 8th century English scholar Saint Bede, believe it probably comes from Estera, the Anglo-Saxon name of the Teutonic goddess of spring and fertility, to whom was dedicated a month corresponding to April. Her festival was celebrated on the day of the vernal equinox. Traditions associated with the festival survive in the Easter rabbit, a symbol of fertility, and in colored Easter eggs, originally painted with bright colors to represent the sunlight of spring, and used in Easter egg rolling contests or given as gifts. Such festivals and the stories and legends that explain their origin were common in ancient religions. A Greek legend tells of the return of Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the earth, from the underworld to the light of day. Her return symbolized to the ancient Greeks the resurrection of life in the spring after the desolation of winter. Many ancient peoples shared similar legends. The Pygians believed that their omnipotent deity went to sleep at the time of winter solstice, and they performed ceremonies with music and dancing in the spring equinox to awaken him. The Christian festival of Easter probably embodies a number of converging traditions. Most scholars emphasize the original relation of Easter to the Jewish festival of Passover, or Pesach, from which derived Pasch, another name for Easter.
just to basically let everybody know what they're saying here, to just sum it all up, the American tradition of Easter is actually the celebration of a
many religions.
pagan religions and celebrations and rituals.
It was adopted.
Yes. From many different, because we are a nation of immigrants. So they brought Christianity over with them, but they also brought their pagan traditions. And that's how you got the Easter bunny and the basket and the eggs. That's the same way you have the birth of Christ. You have Santa Claus and presents and reindeer and Christmas tree and Yule logs. The pagan traditions mixing with Christianity. A lot of people don't understand it and even realize that a lot of their traditions are based in the pagan religions.
The early Christians, many of whom were Jewish origin, were brought up in the Hebrew tradition that regarded Easter as a new feature of the Passover festival, a commemoration of the event of the Messiah as foretold by the prophets.
Constantine I, Roman emperor, convoked the Council of Nicaea in 325. The council unanimously ruled that Easter festival should be celebrated throughout the Christian world on the first Sunday after the full moon following the vernal equinox, and that if the full moon should occur on a Sunday and thereby coincide with Passover festival,
meaning it's happening at the same time,
Easter should be commemorated on the Sunday following. Coincidence of feasts of Easter and Passover was thus avoided.
In other words, they wouldn't be at the same time on the same day so that the feast would not be interrupted by each individual holiday.
The Council of Nicaea also decided that the calendar date of Easter was to be calculated at Alexandria, when the principal astronomical center of the world. The accurate determination of the date, however, provided an impossible task in view of the limited knowledge of the 4th century world. The principal astronomical problem involved was
the discrepancy
called the epoch between the solar year and the lunar year. The chief calendar problem was gradually increasing discrepancy between the true astronomical year and the Julian calendar then in use.
Oh, that's a mouthful to say, ain't it?
Yeah. Okay, now this is our closing prayer.